everyone. Welcome to Stand-Up Analysis. I'm here with Schune, and we're going to analyze a set he did in the last laughter party at the beginning of January. Schune, any context you want to give the audience for this set?
This was probably my zaniest, wackiest, least honest set that I've ever done, which is really unfortunate because a couple comedians before me, William, came up to me and whispered to me like, "Hey, this audience only responds to truthful things, so you really gotta connect with them on a personal level." And I said, "Oh fuck!" And then right before me was friend of the stream, Gaurav, and he really killed it, and he was so good. And I was really afraid of disappointing people because then they would want him and not me.
Sure. Yeah, if anyone wants more context, Patricia's review, who she sort of was sacrificed at the altar of the show to figure that out about the audience, that's up on my YouTube. Maybe a card is appearing now. And also Gaurav's stand-up review, where he absolutely killed it, is up as well as a stand-up analysis. So go check either of those videos out if you want to choose them over Schune. Oh, but without further ado, let's check this out.
Oh, these? Yeah, I guess I'm comfortable on stage now. And in general. And I can prove it right now by doing a crowd work. I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 100.
54.
Incorrect. Heckler owned.
Okay, so we've watched now a minute to sort of get your vibe and get that first joke. How do you feel about this entrance and this first heckler-owned bit?
I think that just because of the way that I am, I think I have an advantage over some other people, which is that I think I'm allowed to take more time sometimes than other people would probably be allowed to take. So, for example, when I came on, took the mic off of the stand, turned around, put the stand back, and then turned back around to face the audience, I think a lot of other comics probably wouldn't have that luxury that I do.
Yeah, I think because we're starting with a kind of like bigger theatrical bit, the audience isn't as like needy for us to connect with them as soon because they're like, oh, okay, this is sort of a performance, so they're sort of sitting back in performance mode instead of like the conceit of another comedian, which would be like, hey, I'm your new friend, let's talk. If that new friend suddenly wasn't talking, you'd be like, why isn't your friend talking? Versus we are building suspense into something with the way we walk on, with the glasses on top. So yeah, I 100% agree that we have more luxury with this opening than I guess like a normal non-theatrical opening set would have. Yeah. And then how do we feel about heckler? One number between 1 and 100 or whatever.
I think the first time I performed this, I did very poorly, and this is the second time that I've done this. So the first time I think I made a couple mistakes, which is like one, like I did this bit where like they were talking and they were like guessing their number, and I would like take the mic away and I would like interrupt them and be like, what is it? And then also like when I said like incorrect and heckler owned, I would just look straight at them instead of looking at the audience. But the diegesis of this bit is that I am doing a performance for the audience that I purport to be indicative of owning a heckler, that I purport to be demonstrative of me being comfortable on stage, but it's actually not, and it's funny because it's actually like a stupid as fuck thing to do, but I think it's so cool. And so the first time when I did it just to the person, it just felt like I was kind of trying to own this one person, but so it felt like the joke was on her. But this time after he guessed the number, for example, like I opened up to everyone. like I was like looking at them for approval, things like that, and then I think it was much clearer that I was doing it for the audience rather than because I wanted to own a person to like show that I'm better than them or something like that.
Sure. Yeah, I like that. I like diagnoses.
Do have to admit, I wasn't always this mature and confident. I had to try out a lot of personalities before I settled on this one, which is that of a cucumber. Cool. Thank you. Recently, I've been getting.
Oh yeah, so if we had that moment with the glasses and there's like an awkward silence, I think we could have just been like, "Yeah, guys, so cool." We could just comment on the last information that they know to try to like smooth over that second. Yeah.
Yeah, I was trying to honestly. I wanted to make it longer, but
Sure.
I didn't
Oh yeah, if
do
the
it.
audience knew it was so like right now, I can't like as a comedian like maybe he's doing this to show how uncool he is, or maybe this is just Schune. Like I wasn't sure which way or the other, so I do agree that if we made it longer, then the audience may be like, "Oh, he's clearly doing this on purpose." So ha 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 ha. Versus this length of time, which could fall either way. So I think audience just default to like, "Oh, he's just doing as he would do."
Okay, yeah. I think I just I need to make myself more Chad because this was freak behavior. So, but I like I am a freak. So if I was more of a Chad, they'd be like, well, this Chad clearly doesn't behave like a freak this day to day, therefore it must be on purpose.
Yeah, that's
I gotta
yeah,
get hot. I gotta get sexy,
yeah, you
sexy
need
as
to
hell next time.
work out more for that bit to work. Yeah, you need at least to put on 20 pounds of muscle for that bit to have worked that way.
I think
Uh,
another thing is
yeah, wait. Just for every bit in this whole thing, I'm gonna say how many pounds of muscle you would need to put on to make that bit work. Sorry, what were we saying?
I think another thing that I I I only realized after I watched the video was that I didn't realize that when I took off the sunglasses and to reveal my glasses underneath that people thought that was funny.
Oh, sure.
I didn't realize that. I think okay, so when I say like I have the personality or that of a cucumber, I actually think that joke is like lame as fuck and I don't like it.
I'm surprised. I mean, honestly, I'm surprised. Like, if someone had pitched me that joke in the wild, I would be like, "Ooh, you gotta really lean on the performance on that one because it's dangerous." But like, this audience loved it, which is
Yeah,
it's a surprise for
surprise
my.
surprising that I'm just the luckiest guy in the world, I suppose. But like, I don't think it's that good. And then when I took off the sunglasses, like at first I thought that was like, oh, like when I was up there, I was like, oh, that's because people understood what the punchline was. People filled in their mind I was gonna say
Oh,
cool. So that's what happened. I didn't realize that they thought it was funny that I had glasses on underneath, but I should have because afterwards someone came up to me and said, "Hey, I really like the part where you took off your sunglasses and you had glasses on underneath."
I mean,
So
if
I
we
that clicked, but it
if we
didn't.
could somehow have more layers, that would have been even funnier. Like sunglasses, glasses. Don't worry, guys. I have contacts underneath. We would maybe even need one more layer, but yeah, we could have leaned into that if we had been more reticent of it.
Recently, I've been getting into social constructs.
Yeah, okay.
Anyone?
I think I
Okay.
needed to do something like that's so. So I was talking about this set and I watched like half of it and then I had to stop because it was so dog shit cringe. And I think that this is like a dog shit cringe moment because like I should have. I don't think I even needed to say anything after the glasses moment. I should have just taken a second to even just be like, okay, now that like that's over, like to then because then I would just go directly into my next bit, which makes this dog shit cringe.
Sure. Yeah, we needed some sort of button after the glasses moment, whatever that is. But I don't think it's dog shit cringe. Maybe buffalo shit. I don't know. It's just not that.
A bullshit cringe.
Recently, I've been getting into social constructs. Anyone? Okay. A lot of us recognizing the subjectivity of the world around us. The rest of you are going to be so surprised when you have to pay for your drinks with money. Because like so.
Oh, it might have helped with like with money, a construct. Like it might help to like really make that clear for the dum-dums.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think like the character of me here, because like, so like it's like a parody of like a regular community. Like I've been getting into like online dating, whatever, right? Anyone else here into online dating? But I'm saying something. I'm talking about like a very arcane topic, right? So like the mapping to me is that's like what's funny to me. But in order to like kind of be that guy, like that guy is very different from the guy that was like wearing the sunglasses and owning the hecklers.
Sure.
And like I do think that like that moment after I do take off the sunglasses, maybe that could have been like how I transition into this guy, but I don't think I'm good enough at performing, like at acting in general or just performing to do that. I'll practice for you, William. I'll die and kill for you. But
if at any time you feel like, oh, I don't know if my acting is strong enough to make this transition or this moment, there's always the fail-safe of just admitting that to the audience, like, hey guys, I'm about to do a big thing, but like watch my acting, and then we've built in a safety valve, and then we can sort of ham-fist it, and since the audience is in on the joke, they'll forgive us and fill in the gaps, but we just have to share that with them beforehand. So if like, guys, I'm about to do a different confident guy impression, trust me, it's so different because my acting is so good, and then we can almost lean into it being exactly the same, but then the audience would like be in on it.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I guess I do tend to comment on things. So, but I don't think I realized it in the moment. I think it's kind of hard to observe.
What do you mean? Because we're like talking about commenting on. Okay, you mean like you usually do that move that I just explained, or you feel like you normally comment on things instead of I don't exactly know how you're pitching comment on things right now.
No, so okay. One time I had an improv teacher tell me that I comment on things too much.
Okay.
And I think that is something that I do just in comedy in general because I think it's funny to label things. That's it.
Oh, I mean, once again, yeah. I mean, that is a solid, very standard tool in improv and in stand-up is to label something to make it very clear what we're talking about and to maybe recontextualize it in a way that is funny. But I could see that like sometimes the joke is just vibing about it, and if you comment on it, you kind of like break the magic of the vibe moment, and so like it could, it's very situation dependent. And the answer would be whatever causes the most tension release. Or doesn't cause attention, because if you're always commenting on something, no one thinks anything can sort of like breathe, and then they're like, oh god, there's about to be a comment. It's like the person who's like, that's what she said every second. Eventually, like, okay, can I say that my sister's gonna come? You're like, there's attention now because you've done that's what she said on everything, and I now have to watch my phrasing. So maybe that's where the diminishing returns hit if we're commenting too much, that the audience is like, can anything breathe? Or am I going to suddenly be disrupted from the current flow because of another comment? Does that make sense? I don't know. I'm not saying that rings true to your comedy. I'm just saying hypothetically, if I had to diagnose where's the point when commenting on something becomes too much, like that's the place, like hypothetically, I would put it. Yeah.
I agree. And not just because you're older than me.
I'm so old.
Many things in the world like we just made up, right? Like you understand the language that I'm speaking because we agree that these words mean what they mean. I get to go to Six Flags for $3 less because I lie about being a veteran. Like so much of our day-to-day is just vibes based, right? This is all to say that one time I was peeing in a stall with the door open, and I felt like a fucking criminal. The thing is, I wasn't even doing it in a weird way, I promise. I wasn't like sitting down, facing the door, greeting passersby. It was normal. The thing is, like, I pee in urinals all the time and no one bats an eye. That doesn't even have a door. You know, everyone's like, carry on. let the genius work.
Okay, so that's for the PP set.
Yeah. Piss and shit. I mean, can't go wrong with piss and shit. I think the transition into it is just like I'm talking about something very like highfalutin, and then I go into something, and then I start talking about piss and shit and poop. I do want to make that clear, but I also don't want to be like, guys, did anyone notice that?
Oh, sure.
Did anyone notice the master plans of I, the architect?
I mean, you would probably get I mean, that is a fun bit. If you had labeled it that way, it would have given you even more problems. Like, did you ever understand like love is arbitrary? Like love could be anything. Love could be that feeling when a turd releases from your bottom and goes. What about justice? Like we could make that a very strong bit. I'm just saying.
Yeah, I love piss and shit so much.
The one opportunity that as an audience member, I was a little curious about. My audience mind was like, "What?" You're like, I couldn't even pee without feeling like a criminal." And then we sort of like get into it on the long path afterwards. But like, I don't know why you would have felt like a criminal. In my mind, I'm like, well, why did you feel like a criminal for peeing in the stall? I don't understand. And so like, my mind almost wants you to qualify that.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because you can't be naked in places you're not allowed to be naked in.
Yeah, and then that's another fun bit. Okay, where you're allowed to be naked, your house.
Yeah, my house.
Or your house, the stage of laughter party.
No way, that's true.
Oh,
Is
I
it?
do like the idea of like where you're allowed to be naked. My house. Yeah, that would land too.
But suddenly I pee in a stall with the door open. Society is all like, why are your pants and underwear down to your ankles like a toddler? For those of you wondering, yes, this is my poop and pee set.
Oh, we might have been able to go further with that. Why are your pants and underwear down your ankles like a toddler? Someone get this little boy his daddy because he can't pee like a grown working man. Someone left it behind the concept of growing up for him, and he's regressed into a little boy because you could have waxed poetical about that and made it a philosophical moment if you wanted to. You kind of got away with it.
Yeah.
I feel.
Yeah, I think that maybe that's where I could acknowledge the criminal thing.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Oh, yeah, and you can even do like a joke or like, do this, nobody... I guess we sort of already just did that with like the do this, no one bats an eye, but one little pee-pee with your pants down a little too low, and now the whole world... There's also a philosophical question of like, where is the slippery slope between when the pants are too low? Okay, you have to pull them off a little bit to go pee, and then like ankles is too far, but like where is that threshold?
I don't think you're supposed to take your pants off at all. You're supposed to like just unbutton the front and try to use.
I've been doing it wrong too. Oh no!
Have you ever used the pee hole in your underwear or no?
No,
I've never used it ever. It feels like when Winnie the Pooh is like trying to get out of his house. He's like stuck in the door.
Yeah, I do. Yep.
That's
and
how
we'll leave. Yep. We'll leave
when you're like trying to make a subway and the doors are like clamping down, and you're like no, and they're clamping down on you. That's what I feel when I try to use the.
I mean, you can add all of this to your set. I could sit there for like probably 10 analogies of in this, in that. Guys, when your penis goes through that hole in your pants and you're like, ow, 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 it's exactly like that. Like the absolute truth of it as the final metaphor. Okay, let's continue.
There's just like a very limited amount of funny things in the world, and I feel like I've talked about all of them. Like once you do a bit on social constructs, you kind of know that that's like your second to last bit. So there's one funny thing left. It's piss and shit, and so here we go. Man, pooping in New York is hard, am I right?
Oh yeah, if we had established exactly what you were doing with the comic bit instead of sort of like leaving it unspoken the first time, I mean, it still lands when the audience gets it when you put the glasses on and start like typical comic behavior. But I think it would have landed harder if we had really solidified it the first run.
Yeah,
I think.
makes sense. I didn't plan on putting the glasses on for this bit. I just at the time I was like, I guess I haven't used these in a while and they're here. I guess it would be funny to put them on again. That's it.
Oh, I mean, look, I like that move, and I think it helped make this joke land. I do wish that now that we've done it, that we've done it with more intention, because there could be a point that if we kept doing this, that the audience gets used to that sort of metamorphosis, and then we can play with that metamorphosis of like, hey guys, have you ever thought about how stand-ups always do the same thing, and then you can comment on them, and then put it back on, and you can like rapidly transition and play with that thing that we've taught the audience. If we built it specifically, but even without building it specifically, I do like this specific move of right into going into this, making that transition a visceral transition.
I've been getting to online pooping recently. I'm on the apps. Anyone on the apps? Okay, Poopid? P Harmony? And with that, the last ever funny thing has been said. Sorry to all the comics going after me. There's no-
Okay, yeah. How do you feel about our sort of like beginning to outro this bit?
I think the second time I put the glasses away, it was like I think that's when people were like, "Oh, is this a pattern? Wait a second." But I think it was too little, too late. I think like it's easier for people to recognize it the second time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So if I more clearly labeled it the first time, and then
Yeah, you needed more labeling.
I
You
need
dummy.
more labeling, more commenting, just the meta as fuck set. I think is what the doctor ordered.
Yeah. The joke doctor, which we don't own the IP rights to anymore. Yeah, I think the audience was confused because like maybe they were waiting for like a button to be tied around this, but then we do this like kind of slow for it, like take off the glasses moment. So it's just like, okay, I don't really know. Like I think the audience is a little confused with this glasses off the second time because they don't even know exactly how to feel about it.
This part, okay, yeah, I know exactly how I want the audience to feel about it, which is wistful.
Okay. Sure.
I want them to feel like they just finished a really good book, you know. I because my
like they just finished a really good pee, and when they put it back in, it didn't get caught on the underwear flaps at all. It was just like a
put the
swish.
pee back into their penis.
No, like when they're pulling their penis back into their pants, it's like a swish. It doesn't get caught on the chomper doors, like we were describing earlier.
That's wistful to you.
Yeah.
That's
like
a wistful experience.
More like pissful. Oh hey. No. Okay. So you wanted them to feel wistful. Do you think you achieved that?
No.
Okay. Do you think you could think of a way to achieve that?
Yeah, I think it just wasn't clear that like I felt wistful.
Oh,
Do you know
okay.
what I'm saying?
Sure.
I think like if I made it clear, like man, like we killed it's not like we killed comedy, but like we finished comedy. Like
we done. Like, oh man, we just grounded out. We just made the new world record. We basically tied the AI optimized run. There's nothing else you can do. No more frontiers to explore.
Yeah, it's like when you're in a show and then it's like after the last bow, you're like, well, what do I do with myself now? You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
That's if I was just better, which is I think the big takeaway is that I'm not good enough and I need to be better. Then I think I would be able to convey that feeling, even without labeling and commenting.
Yeah. I'm gonna make you watch that moment again, just for. So it's a slow because you have to get it all around your other glasses. Your face is sort of like your face was sort of like neutral that whole time, so I don't know what to feel because you're like, I'm waiting to be told, and then even when you say this, you're sort of deadpan right now.
With that,
I mean, the kind of gives it, but it's kind of like a more like a than like a.
Last ever funny thing has been said.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Like, I think because our face is sort of like so neutral in these moments, there's a lot of like mask theory things that are happening. Like the audience is projecting how they feel, but we can't guide them because we're not telling them how to feel. So it's sort of like up to each individual what their interpretation of this moment should be, and so the audience is not unified for that collective like laugh together.
Yeah, I think I need to unify the audience for a collective laugh together.
Yeah, yeah, and then make faces like that.
Sorry to all
With
the
a face,
comics.
Yeah.
with a face like this. Like, you know, like the drama masks, like one of the two. You know.
Yeah, because that's the face that says wistful.
It's going after me.
Like
There's
that,
nothing left for you guys. So I guess
I honestly cannot watch this moment.
it.
For me, when I was doing this was so dog shit cringe.
End the show early. Actually, there's one funny thing left. There's one funny thing left. In 2018, 1 year after we.
Yeah, the audience is just confused because they're like, what is real? Okay, he's there, he's coming back. He's like not a real person, so like he's like an untrustworthy narrator, or whatever that concept is called. So now like any information you're giving, they're like, okay, what kind of layer do I need to put in it? Should I be trying to see instead of like that disarmament of pure truth, supposedly from the comedian, that then is then like, you know, we can sort of like, if the audience guard is already up, it's hard to slip things past them. So sorry, you got some.
Yeah, I think like nobody actually believed that I was ending my set early. You know, nobody believed that. I think that if I asked for like if I asked
For
like
music
outro
and
music,
like lights.
yeah. Outro music for you to be like, give it up for you to be like, I guess give it up for, and then I would interrupt the music, and then come back on. I think another thing is like,
I think another concept is like we said like end the show early, so it's like people knew that there were other comedians that were going to go up, so like they definitely didn't think the end of the show was. So I think we very very specifically would have to tilt it towards like end my set early, even though I understand that it's the last funny thing that has been said. So all comedy shows must end, but I think if we want the believability, we have to turn show into my set, unless we're the last one of the night. So sorry, back to you.
Yeah, definitely. I think it was just like there were so many concepts rattling around in this big old cabeza in mi cabeza grande, that because I didn't actually write down like, I guess we'll end the show early. Like I didn't write that down, but I was like, well, I'm putting the mic back, so I have to say something. Otherwise, there's this long silence. It's gonna be awkward as hell. And then another thing is, every time I've exited, all I've done is walk at a brisk pace to my right. That's the only thing I've ever done to exit ever. And that doesn't really read as an exit without everything else in an exit, aka me going, that's it for me, that's my time, I'm Fin Chun Fu, the audience clapping, you know? So I think I need to like learn how to exit also for this bit to work.
It's Meisner technique versus like a Stella Adler. Like this is Meisner moment. You need it's like the king is the king because other people treat him like the king. Your exits are usually exits because other people treat them like exits. Yeah. But no, this exit depended on you making us believe it's an exit. So it needed to be like a personal like Stella Adler Strasberg exit.
Yeah, I think like if I just added more hallmarks of an exit, like I guess like I've been Chun Fu. Now I don't know who I am anymore. That's my time.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Give it up for sure. Wait. Yeah. Or I mean, like, since we're crafting the bit, it would be even funnier if we like give it up for Shun Fu and keep it going for your next comedian, and then you interrupt there, so it does. Or like I introduce the next person, and that's when you come back on, and so like the audience really thinks we're out of your set, and then that would probably be the most unexpected, and so like it either confused the fuck out of them, or it would get a big laugh if they got it.
Yeah. Well, I don't think
They
we would
might
need
so they might feel a little betrayed if we once again if they're feeling us, they would really like that bit of me being like, and
Yeah.
also give it up to Susie, and then you interrupting like when the next comedian is supposed to go on. But if they aren't feeling us as much, then they may be like, well, you made me applaud and everything, now I feel betrayed, and it could also be a knife to their heart. Sorry, to you.
Oh, I think like it doesn't have to go that, like, I don't have to trick them for that long, just because the function of this is just for me to go, wait, there's one funny thing left. And then the second thing is,
So now keep it pin in that. I was thinking about like we do the other comedians, we end the show, they're starting to walk out, and then you're like, wait, one more thing. Like the full logical, like we put you last, we end the show, we're like, okay, everyone's gotta leave. We're gonna wait, Shun's got more. So sorry. Okay. Just trying to.
the second thing is, I don't know if it would be great to like intro the next comedian, just because it's at that point it's like, this is my Shun time is over, now it's Susie time, and then I'm like stepping on Susie time. I might come off as an asshole.
Sure. And also then when we introduce the next comic for real, there's a little bit about like,
Yeah.
is it gonna happen again? Which would be funny if it kept happening in some ways if we designed the whole show around it. But also, yeah, it would lead to other people's sets would start, and part of the audience's mind would be like, is this other thing gonna happen? So they wouldn't be entering a tabla rasa. We would be making them enter with a little bit of confusion because of our bit, which would be poopy on us.
Yeah, I want as little poopy on me as possible.
Sure. Well, in that situation, the poopy was every on them. Whatever. Let's keep watching.
There's one funny thing left. In 2018, 1 year after we all graduated high school,
Okay. Pause there.
Okay, I guess there were two.
Pause there. I have no idea why people laughed. I I actually still don't know. Is it because they didn't graduate high school in 2017? Is that the thing they're laughing?
It's the bold claim that like, of course we all graduated here, and like, oh, ha, he's being funny for funny's sake, but like, oh cheeky old Shun, that fits with his personality. Like if I'm gonna diagnose it, that's how I would diagnose that.
Okay, because that fucked me up so much.
Really? You didn't? I mean, like if someone had that in a script, I'd be like, okay, that's a laugh line. I would expect a laugh there.
Really? I did not know that at all, because when I was talking about I was referring to like the people in the class.
I mean, well, in the audience, they're the star of the show. So when you say we to them, they're assuming we is them.
Yes, I know that now. Now that I have empathy. But at that point, I was still, selfish, solipsistic Shun.
Yeah. So much.
And so like they laughed, and I had no idea it's like right there, when you're looking at me on the stage right now, I actually have no idea.
You're like, is there something on my butt? Is there something happen? Is there like?
But like, also, it was a big enough laugh that I definitely had to acknowledge it with like, so I had to with like, well, I guess there weren't too funny things, which I wasn't prepared to do.
Yeah, let's rewatch and watch that.
Oh, early.
Oh shit! I guess we have to watch this again.
Cringe.
There's one funny thing left. In 2018, 1 year after we all graduated high school, Okay, I guess there were two. My high school acting class received a message.
So I guess there were two. I don't necessarily know that you're saying two things left. So I think if we wanted to make that joke, we need to say, I guess there were two things left. I know you're pulling an audible, and honestly, for the audible it is, great job. But yeah, if that was planned writing, I think it is a little confusing dangling what that two recognizes.
I'm still confused in this moment. I still have
on stage right now.
They're on stage. No, I know that now. Well, but actually no, I still don't understand why that's funny. I don't know.
Okay. It'd be like, I was back in Jersey, where we all live. Of course, it's such a bold statement that people are like, oh, you cheeky, because you have a silly young age. That as well. Yeah.
Okay.
Um, and it's like sort of like the assumption, it's like a hint into your worldview. Uh,
1 year after we all graduated, in the group chat, it was sent by this man, one of our classmates. We'll call him Grindle, like the orc from Beowulf.
Oh god, physical bits so a pain in the butt. Now I have to like, oh no, my whole email is on this stream for a second, and I have to like get the pictures of the audience after the fact.
It was sent by this man, one of our classmates. We'll call him Grendel, like the orc from Beowulf. So he sends this message. It's of two random girls. It's a screenshot of an Instagram post. It's slightly zoomed in, as you can tell from the darkened background. So for those of you wondering, I put those emojis in to like hide their faces. He didn't have like a fetish for Unicode 6.0. So then he sends this picture, and then he follows it up with, wow, that went from Insta, my fucking phone. And then he sends the picture a second time. Did his phone glitch a second time? Or did he send that so that we would think that something was wrong with his phone? I don't know. He was the best actor in the class. So this means that there were two possible things that were happening as to why he was sending this picture into the group chat, right? One, he was masturbating to this picture. And, through some sort of divine cosmic justice, his phone sent the picture into the group chat. Or two, he was masturbating to this picture. And that made him think of us. He wanted to share it with us, like his version of a reading list. And we all spurned him. Not one of us masturbated to that picture along with him. In this age of cell phones, social media is starting to feel a little more like anti-social media. iPhones, iPads, iMacs, all these eyes, and we still can't see each other. So this is just for everyone. Next time you want to send a like, how about instead, we love.
Okay, how do you feel about the Grendel bit to the slam poetry?
Pretty horrible. If I'm no capping, no kizzy on God.
Sure, yeah. I hope you only ever no cappy, no kizzy on God. Did I say that correctly?
Yeah, no, that was flawless. It sounds very natural when you say it.
Yep, because I'm a glizzard. Okay, no, not glizzard. Glizzard would be glizzies. I'm a rizzard. There we go. Got it. Okay, so how do you feel about this? That is so not good.
Not great. I think when I was like, first of all, the Grendel bit, I don't even say his name a second time in the whole story. So that felt super pointless. Like labeling his name.
Oh, okay, sure, yeah.
I mean, you and Susan also both seemed kind of uncomfortable the first time I brought up the prospect of masturbating to the photo.
Sure. Yes. I mean, like, that's something that I feel like most audiences would be like, instead of like, oh boy, let's dive right in. No. You know what I'm saying?
Of course.
Just because very rarely in life does someone like. So the other day I was masturbating, and I'm like, oh, do go on. So it's sort of a social social construct that normally when someone's like, I was masturbating, like, okay, wait, you better be a close friend versus a potential stranger comic that.
Yeah, but Like, what do you think is the nature of that discomfort?
I mean, I mean, I don't know if I'm one to diagnose that for all society, but yeah, probably the Puritan origins of the United States and general religious things, and the sort of like work culture, which also like de-emphasize sex positivity among like there's lots of
Okay.
things we could get into about why
Yeah.
why. I'm not saying audiences should feel uncomfortable about that, but once again, we can only work with what audiences are. Like we can't say what they should. Oh yeah, concern for women. Yeah, because he feels threatening. Yeah, you feel so threatening, Schune. But yeah, there is the concern from women, like, yeah, maybe that is in there as well. Why? What were you about to say, Schune?
Susan brought up like, oh, you talked about this like being someone you knew from high school. Are these like high school age girls that like you're showing the picture of? But it's not because this is like after high school, so like they're not, you know?
I don't think that I don't think that age dynamic came in. I
Okay.
don't necessarily think that is the like just the age of these uh like theoretical Grindle girls is what I don't think like if the girls had just been clearly way older, the whole thing would have been fine. Like no.
Okay. Um,
Anytime you say like this, so my someone I knew was masturbating to someone and they didn't know about it, the audience is gonna make okay layers of consent, and then like now that person is now associated in the pool of creepy people, so then there's like that danger there that now you're like forcing to us in this real moment, like all that stuff.
makes sense. I think like when I'm setting up the story, there's like there's too much. There is a lot of exposition, and I don't know how interesting it is because because I don't think I established how we should all be feeling about it yet.
Oh, I also feel like as far as like honesty dollars is like the audience doesn't really feel like you feel like he was thinking about you all y'all, and then like I mean like you have a sort of like comic persona, but if someone's like, do you really think Shun felt that way about why he sent those photos? I'd be like, I don't know. Maybe Shun all thinks that he's definitely masturbating to it. I believe that part. But like the other parts, I feel like those are fabricated for the story. So there's a little bit of like I feel like this comic might be lying to me. So now there's the distance here.
No, I only lie. I don't think I lie very uh overtly about like things that happen, but I think I only lie to people about my emotions and who I am as a person, which is good. And because the first one is cringe, the second one is based in good. Um,
Sure.
just because with the first one, I feel like if I lie about things that happen in a story, that makes me come off as someone who is like who loves to exaggerate, and then obviously cuts down on the honesty of everything that I will say afterwards. But if I lie about how I'm feeling, I don't think I'm necessarily lying when I say like he was thinking about all of us. I think, I mean, I was being sarcastic and ironic. Um, I like because obviously he didn't want to share it with the class. Obviously, right? Um,
But I think if you're trying to get that joke off, I think it needs to be more clear that you're being cheeky in that moment.
okay.
That like obviously that's not him. Obviously it was he accidentally sent it. That's obviously the real truth. But part of me would just hope that part of me was wishing that he and then you could have gotten away with that with more candor if we'd done it like in a way like that.
Okay.
Like part of me was wishing that he was masturbating that picture, and that is the objective truth. But that he was also just thinking of us, and since it's like part of me was wishing that, then the answer is like, oh, I do believe that he might feel that way, more truthfully than like, oh, this thing that you're saying sarcastically, but I don't necessarily know 100% that we're. It's like, yeah, I sort of get you saying you're sarcastically, but it's kind of logically away from the what you thought was the objective truth at the moment. Is what I think of that moment and why the audience might have been like, well, I'm a little confused about what things are.
Okay. Sorry, sir.
No, there's nothing to apologize. I'm conjecturing right now. I would potentially buy other hypotheses for that moment. Um, Okay, then just because we might be out of time soon, if you had to wrap a bow around this set and us watching it, things you would do, things you wouldn't do, things you learned, what you want the lesson of the day to be, what would you say?
I think one thing that I definitely do struggle with is who I am to the audience, like how they perceive me, and then remaining consistent with that throughout. I think things I just a lot of these sets I just write because I think they're funny, and without necessarily thinking about the set's cohesion, which I think is important, just because so many of these people, and obviously, okay, because no one knows who I am. I'm a freaking nobody little termite, and so uh, like having a consistent message as to who I am, I think, is going to be more expedient for my bits because it allows them to understand better what I'm trying to do and also like what the joke is. If I'm being, for example, sarcastic and cheeky, or if I'm being honest.
Yeah. So there's this thing in improv that is sort of like a more advanced move, and you can sort of tell the noobly noobs versus the old hats based on something like that. Where let's say I'm walking in on stage and I'm walking like this, boop 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 doo boop 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 boop, and someone goes, "Hey Santa." The beginning improviser will go, "Oh oh 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 ho ho ho," but in making that transformation, I've now negated the beginning of my scene, and so it's like I've yes-handed the concept, but then I've no butted something that the audience very viscerally just saw, and the visceral level supersedes the verbal level. So instead, an old hat improviser would be like, do 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 do, "Hey Santa, oh ho ho ho, I'm just taking my Santa walk," and incorporate it into it. So that sort of like goes with this theme about like, okay, we walk on stage, the audience is starting to get us. Ideally, if we throw them a curveball with our personality, they're gonna be like, "Oh, well, no, I had made some other assumptions about him. No, I guess I need to recalibrate." So now that they're recalibrating, they don't have a strong assumption that we can easily break, because now they have like multiple assumptions. They don't know which is more random data, and so it's harder to break through the white noise with a clear like regression line or whatever. However, all that being said, I do think, at least in this moment in time, in all of Laughter Party, like right now, there's this like zeitgeist going through the community of like, we gotta walk on stage and have one deal and keep that exact deal through the whole set. If it's a 5 minute set, 100%. If we're 10, sometimes 12 minutes, look, in real life, you can talk to someone at a party like, "Man, the other day I was at Chipotle. I love Chipotle." And they're like, "Oh, but let me tell you something at work. I was angry at work." And we acknowledge that they're a person that can be both angry and love something. And we don't like, "Well, why didn't you keep the love deal the whole time?" So like, it's not like there is some flexibility within it. But yes, but also nuance, and then more nuance. But yes, and then a little bit, but no. Does that make sense?
Yes, but okay. I think it's just because first of all, I'm being ironic about being comfortable on stage. Then I'm being ironic about
Yeah.
social constructs. Then I'm being ironic about this other thing. So it's like someone being like, "I love Chipotle, but I also love eating heaping piles of shit and doo doo," right?
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
all those two things aren't really similar.
I will say, like, being like ironic about this, ironic about that, ironic about the other thing. Yeah, then the only thing the audience expects is for you like to not fully believe what you're saying and to continue being ironic, because then it's hard to nail down exactly what are you, because you're like, "Here's me in this mask, here's me in this mask, here's me in this mask." I'm like, "Okay, this is a man who wear masks, but like, who is he?" I could agree with that as like specifically the thing of like irony over sarcasm. Sure.
Okay, thank you for agreeing with me. That means
No,
a
yeah,
lot.
no, I mean, I'm also once again, I also learn on these things, and I get things recontextualized for me, and I'm like, "Whoa, I'm stealing that." Hopefully, you at home are going, "Whoa," and are stealing that. And if you're still watching at this point, hey, give us a like, give us a comment, give us a subscribe, and hit that noti bell. I don't know, what should they say in the comments?
They should say that because I featured a Psyduck in this stream, you are going to get sued for copyright by Nintendo. They are very litigious when it comes to protecting their IP, and now that Psyduck has made an appearance both in form and name, uh, bye monetization. Goodbye.
Okay, yeah,
Goodbye.
okay. Bye, monetization. Great, great.